alaikum, everyone. We are back today with our mountain view, a day for perspective, problem solving, and a proactive way. And that is meant to rhyme so that you can remember it. And I hope, here we are on the 12th already, so I do hope that you are gaining some perspective in your life. I hope that your problems are being solved, or at least you are considering ways of solving them that are working for you. And I also hope that you can be proactive in this. Islam is a positive religion. It's a religion that embraces life and embraces problem solving and embraces the world as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given it to us. And so I hope you're getting some proactive ideas about how to interact with your life during Ramadan, and then, very importantly, after Ramadan is over. All right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli wa sallam barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Welcome, everyone. This juzit, which is the second juzit, is Surah Hud for the most part. We have a little bit of Surah Yusuf at the end of it, but it's mostly Surah Hud, and today we're going to talk about Surah Hud. We'll talk about Surah Yusuf tomorrow. At least, that's my plan. We'll see. Now, as we look at this surah, we are seeing again and again prophetic suffering. Prophetic suffering that is there to reform us. And so we can sit with that for a moment. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sharing with us one story after another that shares with us the struggles that prophets went through. Now, of course, there are multiple layers here. One layer is how this was comforting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in what he was dealing with, because this is another Meccan surah. There are a few verses that some commentators say were Medinan, but for the most part, it's a Meccan surah. And so we understand what the Muslims are going through, what the Prophet ﷺ is going through, and how this surah addresses what they're dealing with and gives them hope. And also gives them a connection to people of the past that have dealt with similar things that they're dealing with now. But the Quran is for all time, and therefore it's for us today as well. And so as we look at this surah in our day and our age, and we think about the suffering that we as an ummah are facing, individually or as groups, we also benefit from these stories as we understand we are connected to a world across borders of the challenge to hold on to faith and to bring faith to others, whether they are family members or community members or what have you. All right, Bismillah. So we're going to start then right there in the beginning on page 222. And I want to start actually down with verse 10. Just grabbing the English. Where there's a lot of clarity in this sentence. وَلَئِنْ أَذَقْنَاهُ نَعْمًا بَعْدَ ضَرَّاءٍ مَسَّتْهُ لَيَقُولَنَّ ذَهَبَ سَيِّئَاتُ عَنِّي إِنَّهُ لَفَرِحٌ فَخُورٌ. In English, did I do number 10 or number 11? 10. And if we let him taste ease and plenty after hardship has visited him, he is sure to say, "Gone is all affliction from me," and he grows jubilant and boastful. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ كَرِيمٌ. Not so. The ones who are patient in adversity and do good deeds, they shall have forgiveness and a great reward. So we start out, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us of two different types of people. One is a person going through hardship who then faces difficulty. A person going through hardship and then the hardship is eased. Now they forget all of the hardship and they become not just happy about it as in grateful to Allah, but boastful, like, look how I got rid of the hardship. I did this. Astaghfirullah. Except for the ones who are patient in adversity, patient in hardship, and they do good deeds anyway. أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ كَرِيمٌ. So those people have forgiveness and reward. And then it continues to talk about how people are responding to the message. What they are saying to the Prophet ﷺ and then other prophets, and how they said he invented it. And how difficult that was for the Prophet ﷺ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those are the people, مَنْ كَانَ يُرِيدُ حَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَزِينَتَهَا يا الله نوفي إليهم أعمالهم فيها وهم فيها لا يبخسون. For those who desire only the life of this world and its bounties, we give them in this life for what they do, and they suffer no diminution of their just dues. These are, when you say, I only want the reward of this life, when we forget about the next life, we get that reward. And you see people, the sunnah of the world is when people work, for the most part, you see the results. That's why we want to work for Allah, because then you get the results in dunya and in akhirah. Because وَحَبِطَ مَا صَنَعُوا فِيهَا وَبَاطِلٌ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Because if they only work in this life, it's just in vain. And it's worthless. Okay, let's go to now the first story of the prophets, which is Nabi Nuh. And this is, we talked about him yesterday a little bit, but now we have more details of the story, and it begins in verse 25. His story begins in verse 25, and in verse 25, it is one of the most, for me personally, it is one of the most vivid stories of Nabi Nuh in the Quran. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا نُوحًا إِلَى قَوْمِهِ إِنِّي لَكُمْ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. We sent Noah to his people as a warner. Now I mentioned last night at the local Taraweeh, and I want to make sure that all of you are able to hear this. So if you're here last night, just be patient with me as I repeat something. The story of Noah in the Quran is not the same as the story of Noah in the Bible. So I only want you to know that we don't have time to go into comparative stories, but I want you to know that the story is different. And the details that are given in the Quran are very important in understanding the relevance of his story for us. And as I read all of these stories, and as we look at how they are related to what we need to be thinking about, what's our perspective, we can see that every single story has a metaphorical meaning for how we're living our lives today. And that's how the Quran is. It has a message for the Prophet and the people of that time, and it has a message for everyone at all time. Anyway, so Noah was sent to his people as a clear warner. A clear warner. أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Yani don't worship except for Allah. إِنِّي أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ عَذَابَ يَوْمٍ أَلِيمٍ. Don't worship except for Allah. I fear for you a punishment, a serious punishment. Now, the verses continue where the fancy people of his tribe, or his people, his qawm, the notables, they said to him, فقال الملأ الذين كفروا من قومي ما نراك إلا بشرا مثلنا. We don't see that you're a person just like us. وما نراك اتبعك إلا الذين هم أراذلنا بادية الرأي وما نرى لكم علينا من فضل. Sorry, I wanted to stop. We don't see, but that the people that follow you are the lower classes, yani. those who are rational and discerning, those who we aren't, like they don't respect them. You're not superior to us. وَمَا نَرَى لَكُمْ عَلَيْنَا مِنْ فَضْلٍ بَلْ نَظُنُّكُمْ كَاذِبِينَ. Therefore you must be liars. Literally, we could spend the next 20 minutes just talking about this verse, because you hear it again and again. The academic world and its secular values is full of ridiculing people of faith, actually anyone of any faith. It's not just about Muslims here. People of faith, ridiculing people of faith as being less, to look down on. And every messenger has come to teach us what we cannot know without those messengers. So anyone who is seeing themselves as very intelligent but leaving aside belief has lost out on what is most important in this life and what will bring them to the next life. And again, Surah Hud is going again and again and again and telling us about this. Now, Nuh is, the story goes on, and he tries to convince them. It's not mentioned here, but in somewhere else in the Quran it is mentioned that he lived for 950 years. Elsewhere in the Quran it is mentioned that. And then they say to him, قَالَ يَا نُوحْ. Oh Nuh, this is now verse 32. I jumped ahead. قَدْ جَادَلْتَنَا فَأَكْثَرْتَ جِدَالَنَا فَأْتِنَا بِمَا تَعِدُنَا إِن كُنْتَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Oh, yeah, Noah, listen. You have argued with us and argued to excess. You discussed with us and discussed too many times. So bring upon us what you've promised if you are truthful. Literally, they said, okay, fine, punish us then. He says, قال إنما يأتيكم به الله إن شاء وما أنتم بمعجزين. Only God can bring that to you. Now, I'm finding myself going deeply into the story, so I want to pause myself for a moment because I want to make a point, really. And the point that I want to make is that this story tells the story of Noah and his companions and all the arguing and how they didn't believe and how they made excuses. And how even then, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him, the people who believe have believed and the rest are not going to believe, go build the ark in the desert, and he sends the flood. And during that flood, his son is there, and he says to his son, come get on. He says, no, I'm okay. I'm going to go to the mountain, and the waves come between him, and he is of the lost. This story represents the stories of humanity from the beginning of time up until now. As we talk to people about Islam, as we talk to people about our own belief, we are often faced with a scathing look, or an arrogant look, or a look of one who is so attached to the dunya that they just don't care what you say. And so, take heart. Take heart. You're not the first and you won't be the last. Take heart. This is normal. Don't give up. Keep on sharing. Keep on being the best person you can be, following in the footsteps of the prophets with an S, alayhim salam. And walk forward with bravery and with a very strong heart. We need a strong heart for this work. And hope in Allah. In Fi Dhilal al-Quran, he pauses at the whole thing that happened with Noah and his son. Because he says here, inshallah, thank you. He says here, وَنَادَ نُوحٌ رَبَّهُ. Noah called his Lord. فَقَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي ابْنِي مِنْ أَهْلِي. My son is from my family. وَإِنَّ وَعَدَكَ الْحَقِّ وَأَنْتَ أَحْكَمُ الْحَاكِمِينَ. And he's just grieving and saying, Ya Allah, my son is from my family, and your promise is true, and you are the most wise. And then his response, which Sayyid Qutb talks about a lot in his tafsir, the response is, قال يا نوح إنه ليس من أهلك. Oh Noah, no, he's not of your family. إنه عمل غير صالح. His deeds are other than good. Look at how beautiful the talk is. This is his father. غير صالح. Not his deeds are bad, his deeds are terrible. His deeds are other than good. فلا تسألني ما ليس لك به علم. Don't ask about what you don't know. إني أعيذك أن تكون من الجاهلين. Then he said, Ya Allah, I seek refuge in you from being of the ignorant. So in Fi al-Quran, it talks about how this set for the early Muslims and sets for us forever a new definition of relationships. Now we want to be careful here because, of course, we have many other verses and many other hadith that speak to the importance of family and taking care of family and helping family and taking care of your blood relatives and taking care of the people who are close to you. So understand that what I'm about to say in the context of everything else. But here, this lesson is to find in our hearts love for our brothers and sisters of faith. We need to recognize that, and subhanAllah, as I was thinking about this test last night, I was thinking how so many of us who have family members who are far or distant or not Muslim or whatever, we make a lot of dua for those individual people. And last night I was thinking how, and I actually originally learned this from my good friend who lives in the DMV area. She has a wonderful nonprofit you can look up, Mosaic DMV, where she helps refugees there. Donate to her this month. She once said to me, when we were talking about making dua for her children and mine, she said, we need to make dua for all of the children of the ummah. So her words came back to me last night, and I was thinking about this and how the trial of the love of the children of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and by that I mean his ummah, must be prevalent in our hearts. We can't be selfish with our love. And I think if we look at our dua, or maybe I should only speak about myself, but if I look at my dua, I have oftentimes been a lot of my dua, of course, it's like, I guess, I want to say like everyone, but I'm not going to let myself off the hook like that. It's often focused on my own children, my own family. And last night it occurred to me as I was reciting this surah in Taraweeh, wow, Tamra, you need to be making dua for everyone. We need to be making dua for everyone's child, everyone's parent, everyone's sibling. Because all of those who are our faith family, we love all of them. And we need to open our hearts in that way, and in a very wide view. And one of the things this whole experience that is repeated to us in the Quran does is teach us of the importance of that faith family. How you and I are sisters. I am your sister, and you are mine. We are siblings. We are truly in a place where our belief connects us together. And in a time of great secularism, in a time of a heaviness in the earth of sin and mockery for people of religion, it's very important that we stick together in this way and help one another and uplift one another. I think that's all I'll say about that right now. And then we continue and we go next to Thamud Akhahum Salih. So literally, if you're reading this surah, you're going to be going, Yahud, قالوا يهود ما جئتنا ببينة وما نحن بتاركي آلهتنا. Then we have Hud, whose people said, we're not leaving our gods. What do you mean? What are you talking about? You think you have a hard time convincing people to do the things you want them to do? These prophets, one after one, one after one, one after one. We are shown again and again the difficulties that they struggled with. وإلى ثمود أخاهم صالحا. And then Nabi Salih. قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره. You worship your Lord, you have none other than him. And then of course قالوا يا صالح قد كنت فينا. يا Allah, you are of us مرجوا قبل هذا. يعني who are you? Again, looking at they're lowering the status of people. Literally today we are in a weird world of lies that you can't believe. Like, it's watching the news is just a circus of wildly a circus. And I'm a generation that wasn't raised like that, so it's just like blowing my mind. But when I read this, I realize this has been the habit of people, because they lied about their prophets. They lied about the Prophet. They called him Al-Amin. They called him the trustworthy one. And then they said, oh, you're nothing but a magician. Astaghfirullah al-azim. You're nothing but a person who isn't trustworthy. And they lied about him to not have to believe. Why did they want to believe? It was a power trip. It's all about power. And so, the wild thing is that the real power belongs with God. So but people don't want that power. They want their own personal power. Ya Latif, Ya Latif. Ya Latif. And it continues about Salih, and then we have وَلَقَدْ جَاءَتْ رُسُولُنَا إِبْرَاهِيم. And then we have Ibrahim, and how the angels came to him with good news. And then we have the next Nabi is Lut. Lut, and what happened with him and his people again and again and again and again. We go to the end of the surah there's a beautiful summary. It's like a literal summary of what they have, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what all of these stories have told us. I'm jumping to verse 113. Well, let's go up to one. He also mentions Moses again. But let's go up to 112. 112. فاستقم كما أمرت ومن تاب معك ولا تطغوا إنه بما تعملون بصير. In English, follow then the right course as you are bidden, together with those who with you have turned to him, to God, and let none of you transgress. Surely he sees all that you do. After we hear all of these stories of prophets and their struggles, now we decide, fastaqim, walk on the straight path. Let's be straight together. And I love how this is man taba ma'ak, and the ones who have repented with you, because we are together on this. And when we are together, we're stronger. When we are together, we have more confidence. When we are together, we feel a depth and a richness. Don't let yourself be alone. Don't say, I'm alone and lonely. You're letting yourself be alone and lonely. There are online communities. This is an online community. This is an online community. We are here together. We have Rabata online communities. Drop the link for the masjid, folks. We have also the halaqat community. They are not open right now, but they'll be open in October. Both of these are free opportunities. We have ribat classes. We have opportunity to make friends in ribat classes and in cohorts. We have a bachelor's degree coming up. There's so much out there for you to find your people. Find your people and walk on the straight path with them. And then, وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا فَتَمَسَّكُمُ النَّارُ وَمَا لَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ مِنْ أَوْلِيَاءَ ثُمَّ لَا تُنصَرُونَ. Put no trust in those who do wrong, lest the fire touch you. So listen to the people who are your faith family, and don't trust the people that are sinning all the time. Literally, the world has become a world where immorality is not even like people. I don't know what to say. Like, people are happy with untruth. People are happy with laziness. People are happy with, I don't know, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling on us to be a people who hold on to good moral values, hold on to gentleness, hold on to kindness, hold on to truthfulness. Because if we hold on to the people that are sinning, the fire might touch us. SubhanAllah, people used to say, I think this is maybe an Arabic expression, but I'm not going to remember it right away, but that be careful who you sit with. Because if you sit with the people of God, you might catch the mercy as it falls down upon them. But if you sit with the people of ghadab and sin, be careful, you might catch some of the ghadab that is falling down upon them. Ghadab means wrath. And here, this is very similar. Be careful, because if you trust those doing wrong in sin and causing chaos on the earth, you might end up with some of that chaos upon you. And then you have none to protect you from God, nor would you find any help. Don't worry, here comes the verse to tell us what to do. وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ Establish your prayers. Sorry, I don't know why I got emotional about that. Let me go read it here. وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ طَرَفِ النَّهَارِ وَزُلْفًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ Attend your prayers at both ends of the day and in the early watches of the night. Literally, ya Habibati, we are being called upon here. We're being called upon here to hold on to our prayers. I want you to imagine with me an ummah that prays. And if you don't usually pray and you started praying in Ramadan, or maybe you're still not praying in Ramadan, let's take today and this verse to change that. Let's make us an ummah that prays. إِنَّ الْحَسَنَاتِ يُذْهِبْنَ سَيِّئَاتِ One good deed gets rid of bad deed. My advice for those struggling with doubt and wants to establish prayer is to do with your prayer like you would do with medicine if the doctor prescribed it for you. If you went into the doctor and the doctor told you you are terminally ill, but we've just discovered a new medicine that is going to help you. You don't have the science. You don't know if that pill is going to help you or not, but you're going to take that pill because you want to live. Do with prayer, know that you are terminally ill spiritually if you're not praying. Take the pill of prayer because that will help. Eventually, if you keep doing it, it will help with the illness of doubt. Because it is but an illness. And prayer will cure it over time. Not one prayer. You have to establish it as a habit. And how do I know this? Well, for one reason, إِنَّ الْحَسَنَاتِ يُذْهِبْنَ سَيِّئَاتِ Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here, one good deed gets rid of bad deeds. Good deeds get rid of bad deeds. So when you do them, you are growing. ذَلِكَ ذِكْرَ لِلذَّاكِرِينَ This is a reminder for those who are thoughtful, those who remember. And the last verse I want to mention, وَاصْبِرْ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ And have grit. Have grit. Because Allah doesn't fail to reward those who do good. Yani, if you are patient through hardship, you will get your reward. You will get what you're looking for. Dunya and akhirah. May Allah make us of the su'ada ad-darain, those who are happy in both worlds. Now we have gone through Surah Hud. We still have Surah Yusuf, but we'll do Surah Yusuf tomorrow. And as I close off today and just remind you of all of these prophets and their stories, prophets and their stories, prophets and their stories, I want to thank you. I hope you saw my little video on the on my stories that thanked you. Those of you who donated to the bingo card, mashallah, I went over and above the bingo card goal, and I made a special dua for you online, and I'm also making dua for you privately. And my next goal now is I want to get 10 monthly donors. So I have at least 3 categories. So we are 10 years at Rabata, so maybe $10 a month. It is 2025, so maybe $25 a month. And I am 40 years a Muslim and I'm still celebrating, so maybe $40 a month. I want to get 10 of you to be new monthly donors for us. Let's walk together as a faith family. Let's uplift this work for now and for generations to come. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. A monthly donor does get a discount at the bookstore. You get special newsletters, you get special attention and special calendar every year. This year the calendar has recipes in it. I'll show it to you tomorrow. It's not on my desk right now. The bachelor's degree we will be accepting, inshallah. We will be opening, I should say, for application at the end of the fall. So sometime in the end of November. The first semester will be, inshallah, September 2026. So exciting. So exciting. And your help to support Rabata is help for us to do all of this good work that we do. And we're doing it together to build this work together. So I hope if you are benefiting from this work that you will become one of these monthly donors and join the already over 619 or something, but we want 10. All right, so jump in there. And oh, thank you. Yes, the calendars are so beautiful. And this year it's recipes, including Snicker salad, Snicker salad. So don't miss out on next year's calendar. And maybe even, I don't know if you'll get one this year or not. Who knows? But there's a special video coming out to you. All right. Have a beautiful rest of your day. May Allah bless you all. We have 629 monthly donors now. Wow. Well, let's make it 640. Let's make it 640. Let's get 11. Let's get 11. MashaAllah. I wanted to, there was a little question up here. Was there a question? Did I miss the question? Maybe I did. All right. Well, we're just going to go ahead and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bismillah. And I will be making a special dua for our new monthly donors and the old ones. And if you are already a monthly donor and you want to bump it up, that counts as a new monthly donor. Assalamu alaikum.